Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
And welcome to What's on Tap podcast. It is your weekly dose of
ear love
about beers and car talk. We love talking about beers and we love talking about automotive repair.
Vroom vroom.
Exactly. Since we're both such gearheads, we will jump over that for the moment and then focus on the beer. So we'll circle back around at the end if there's time.
Our car talk would be too advanced for our listeners.
Honestly, it would just become nothing but that, and we would forget to talk about the beers. But we don't really want to get into the beer, into the car talk. We want to get into the beer.
How about
and then
those transmissions?
And at the end, we'll get into
all the questions and answers regarding cars that we have gotten from our listeners. We'll take at the end of the episode.
Exactly.
Yes.
We'll circle back around to that in the final moments of the show, which, like I said, if we started with it, it would just consume everything. But we will keep that for the end of the show. But to start with, we have something called Jungle Boogie. And it is, so the fun thing we have here are two sour ales.
From Systembolaget.
But they are wildly different interpretations of what a sour ale can be. This is a mixed fermentation sour ale aged in oak barrels called Jungle Boogie. It is from a Spanish...
Espiga? No? Calavera?
Calavera.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're Spanish. 7.6% ABV. That's all I can tell you because this has nothing other than mixed fermentation sour ale and oak barrels.
Jungle Boogie.
It smells very much like a wild ale, like it goes. Like
it is a collaboration with Cierzo Brewing from Zaragoza, Spain. Just so you know. No description. Zaragoza.
I've been to Zaragoza. I was at Zaragoza this last summer. I went to Zaragoza. It was on a Sunday and everything was closed.
Oh.
There was one craft beer bar that was open. It was quite nice.
Nice.
But everything else was not open, which is kind of sad.
So this one is quite light in color, orangey, light brown. Not light brown. It smells exactly like a mixed fermentation sour ale aged in oak barrels.
That is literally like what it says on the label. Is exactly what it smells like.
Nailed it.
There is no doubt.
Quite acidic, quite nail polish varnish.
Yeah, if someone was to hand you this blind and you smelled it, you were like, oh, goes.
No.
Wild ale.
No.
Wild ale kind of.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely not goes. I would go Flemmish.
Flemish what?
Flemish red ale.
I don't get that much acetone. For me, I would smell...
I get a lot of acetone.
I'm just going to my nose. I get a lot. For me, it smells very much like a lambic kind of situation here. Goes kind of situation. Definitely in the wild ale family.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers. Well, the flavor is a lot of acetone.
Isn't it?
It's yeah. It takes a moment to compose yourself after the initial sip because it took quite pungent.
I took too big of a sip and I almost swallowed it into the windpipe. That is acetone.
That is a pungent blend.
It's quite fun. And I'm not that opposed to nail polish remover acetone
you know me.
notes.
I love those beers.
Yes.
And this has a very strong acetone finish to it.
But you need to be ready for it, and it needs to be clear that that's what you're getting.
Yeah. Looking at this, you don't think Rodenbach.
No.
But then you try it and you think, oh, Rodenbach.
Yes.
And if you like that kind of experience, I think you'll quite enjoy this beer. Unfortunately, though, it's not very rewarding. It doesn't quite have the extra thing that like Rodenbach brings to the table. Like there's no cherries or raspberry or something other to it. No. It's just wild ale with acetone notes to it.
Yes.
And for me, that's what brings this beer to a kind of a halt.
Apart from the acidity, like it's lemony acidity with nail polish remover acetone. That's where it ends. There's no depth to it.
No. It needs that extra something to really, like some sort of fruit additive to really give it some body. give it some depth of flavor. Because it's drinkable. It's quite a nice beer. If you like the acetone kind of notes like you get from Rodenbach, Flemish red ale kind of
Exactly.
beer. You'll like those things. Otherwise, this is gonna be a total drain pour for you. You're gonna hate it. But I wish there was something else here.
Yeah, but what makes Rodenbach so much better? Have they spent more time in better barrels? Could that be it?
I believe they use a lot of red fruits in their beers because they're not like this. I mean, they use cherry and they use.
I think that depends on which variant. I mean, Rodenbach is a brewery, right?
Yeah, Rodenbach is a brewery, but even their standard vintage or whatever. I mean, the Napoleon has like a cherry raspberry something component to it.
Yeah,
that's outside of it. But I think the base one is cherries.
I'm not certain that Rodenbach Vintage contains cherries.
You don't think so? Let's look this up.
Keep talking about this beer. There's so much to say.
I don't know much I can say much more on this. You kind of have killed it for me.
Rodenbach Vintage is a unique unblended Flanders red brown ale, which is matured in oak cask for 2 years.
Okay.
Only the best casks are used, after which the beer is subjected to a strict sampling selection. There's no fruits in a Rodenbach Vintage.
All right. Well, maybe it's the oak then that gives it some more character.
Yeah, maybe. Because
this is not working for me. It's good.
It's great.
But it needs the oak barrels, or it says oak barrels, but they weren't good oak barrels. It's more like oak spirals.
Maybe it could be.
But it's missing that something that really takes it to that the Rodenbach level.
I've had it once before and I gave it a higher rating than now. I'm giving it a 3.5 today.
I'm going to give it also a 3.5 today. All right, so next up is from Arpus. Not Danish. They are from Latvia.
Or Estonia.
Probably
Latvia, right?
One of those. One of those countries. I am not. It doesn't say on the
That's
on the can.
racist.
It's not racist. It's not knowing where they're from.
They're from
Latvia. They're from Latvia. I see it on the can.
Amory.
I thought they were Danish for the longest time. But anyway, they're cherry and red currant and apricot and vanilla sour ale, and this is a fruit bomb stain the glass kind of beer.
Sewer water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like vitamin juice, blended fruit smoothie kind of pastry beer.
This is the kind of beer that your uncle will say, but this not beer.
Yeah, and they would not be entirely correct. I mean, when I smell this, I think...
Of course it's beer.
It's a fermented beverage, I'll give you that. But
water, malt, hops, and yeast, and some berries,
and a lot of berries,
lactose, and some vanilla, and some other stuff.
But this smells like straight up like what I would go to Joe and the Juice and order a fruit smoothie. This is a fruit smoothie sour. This is a pastry sour.
To be fair, this doesn't smell as good as Arpus sours usually.
You don't think so? I think it smells wonderful. I got cherry, I got apricot, I got a little vanilla on there. I mean, it's a lot of apricot. This is a strong
There is a lot of apricot. That's nice.
Like the dried apricot. This kind of I used to love those as a kid. But then I discovered as an adult you're not allowed to eat those. I don't know what the rule is.
What?
Well, the dried apricots are super high in sugar. And you're not supposed to eat them as I think you're supposed to eat them in general. I love them so much, but I don't eat them as an adult because apparently they're really not good for you.
Because of the sugar content?
Because of the high sugar, because such a concentrated sugar amount in the dried apricots.
Cheers.
But they're so tasty! This is the definition of a pastry sour.
Yeah. It's much better. It's really good when you taste it.
You get a lot of the apricot. You get some cherry. You get some red currant. Not really much vanilla, but I think the vanilla is there just to soften the other flavors.
Yeah. But I'm glad the cherry is the weakest of the flavors, and I'm happy because it would take over otherwise.
Yeah.
They've kept the cherry low enough that the apricot is allowed to shine, but I'm not getting any red currant.
I think that's where the tartness comes in at the end.
Maybe.
There's a little bit of a tartness bite at the end, which is quite nice, I think, which really boosts the apricot and the cherry flavor. So I think when you think about It's kind of like passion fruit. I think red currant can be used the same way, where if you use passion fruit on its own, it's just an ungodly mess. It's just way too overpowering. But if you use it with like mango, suddenly the mango is more mango.
Yes.
And I think this is where the red currant is making the apricot more apricot-y, and the cherry maybe a little less cherry.
Just like you make me more martini.
Exactly.
Yes.
You complete me.
You enhance me. I do nothing for you.
Basically. So this is 5% ABV. Super drinkable. I could easily drink this whole can. I quite enjoy this beer.
Yeah.
Arpus is a bit of an underrated brewery. They put out really good stuff, I think, but they're not as celebrated as a lot of other breweries that are putting out these kind of fruit smoothie beers.
No, that's true.
I don't know why that is, but I really can't think of too many times I've tried an Arpus beer and I went, "Well, this is a real whiff." Whereas Vault City, who does a lot of stuff, I think they're much more hyped. Maybe it's because they're just doing a lot of really crazy stuff.
Maybe.
There was some sort of caramel apple pie, cherry something. You're like, "Ooh, okay, one flavor too many, guy."
But whenever I am at a festival where Arpus has a booth, they're always pretty popular.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, exactly. So they're not too undervalued.
Maybe it's just in Sweden they're undervalued, I feel. Yeah. I feel like no one talks about them and no one is just like, "Oh, there's a new Arpus on the shelf. I want to try that." It's kind of like, okay, well, I'll get that because there's not much else coming out this week.
Fair enough. But this is almost a 425.
I think it's 425. I quite enjoy this one. I think it's a really fun, drinkable beer. Definitely.
No collaborating breweries marked on internet.
And I like their cans. Their cans are usually very well designed as well. All right. Anything else you want to add this episode?
I think I've said everything there is to say about these two beers. I mean, the Arpus is good and we're giving it good ratings, but everything we've said, that's it. There's nothing more to it. There's no more depth to it. Really.
Not really.
That's a problem with many pastry.
I mean, we could go into the history of Latvian breweries and how they've evolved over the years, thanks to the
fall of the Soviet
Union and the rise of the new economy and how they've done a lot of contract brewing for Finnish breweries and other breweries around the world. But we'll save that for another episode.
When I worked for Sony Mobile, I worked with a wonderful guy who was from Latvia called Victor. Mm-hmm. He and I went to California together to meet Google. That was a great trip.
I'm sure it was.
Victor, he could probably kill you in his sleep, but he chose not to.
Yeah, I have no doubt. So on this is apropos of nothing. I was at work the other day, and they were like, "Oh, you need to talk to Yuri." And I'm like, "Okay, Yuri, I can find Yuri. He's Finnish. Do you know how they spell Yuri in Finland?"
No, it doesn't end with a J.
It starts with a J. Jyri. I never would have gotten that.
Yuri.
Yeah. I was like trying like Yuri, URI. I'm like, all right, I'm tapped. That's all I got. I don't know another way to spell it. JYR. A million years, never would have gotten that one. Just randomly typing in letters on a keyboard, maybe stumbled across that. It's like the 100 chimps.
5 million chimps would find Yuri.
Yeah. Crank out Shakespeare. Yeah. That's basically the concept. Just a monkey at a keyboard trying to figure out how to spell something. This seems obvious. So that was quite a surprise.
Yeah.
I guess, we should really I was going to say we should transition into car talk, but there's no time. We have to wrap it up here at this point.
You can find us at what?
Well, I was going to say, check your fluid levels. Make sure that they're topped off. I guess if you have an electric car, charge regularly.
The transmission should go ka-chink, ka-chink, not
yeah, exactly. If you were one of the fools that bought one of the Tesla Cybertrucks, shame on you. You should feel bad about yourself and your life choices. You should really reevaluate them.
If you ever drive a Ferrari off the parking lot, you've depreciated the value of 1 million Swedish kronor.
Well, basically, anytime you drive a new car from a parking lot, you've already devalued it by 40%. I think is the average. So there you go. Buy used. Apparently, the used market is not as robust as it used to be, thanks to COVID.
You should only buy Honda Civics from 1987. I had a friend who owned a Honda Civic from 87. It was the worst piece of shit car you've ever seen. The passenger front door was kind of loose, so when we went on the highway, the freeway, it started shaking and he screamed, "Hold the door! Hold the door!"
Wow.
You needed to hold the door so it wouldn't fly off.
I had
Amazing.
a Dodge Omni, which you have no idea what that is. I don't even know what an equivalent would be in the Swedish market. But it was a small 4-door hatchback with one of those really big windows, like a Gremlin or something kind of thing. And it had a leak with the transmission. And I never had enough money to get the transmission fixed. So I always just had to carry 3 bottles of transmission fluid in my car at all time. Because once your car runs out of transmission fluid, it dies. Yes. It just will not work anymore until you top it off with more transmission fluid. And then it just starts up and goes again.
Yeah.
And there was...
Happy car.
I would say there was more than once that I stalled traffic. Fortunately, never on a freeway, but on some side streets. I kind of, during rush hour, I may have had to hop out, fill up transmission fluid, and get it going again. Good times. I did not miss my 20s in that way.
No.
So we'll wrap it up here with our car talk experience. What's on Tap Podcast.com, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. Please like and subscribe to all of those channels, or just any of those channels, quite frankly. So until next time,
keep drinking your dum-dums.